talk about purpose clauses this week, but what I want to do first is do a review of all the ways that you can show purpose in Latin that you have learned so far. So let's take a look at these 3 English sentences. The soldiers arrived as a relief to the guards. The soldiers arrived to relieve the guards. The soldiers arrived so that they might relieve the guards. All 3 of these sentences express the same idea. The soldiers have arrived at some place. For what purpose? To relieve the guards. So as a relief is one way to say it. To relieve is another way, so that they might relieve. So in Latin, just like in English, we have various ways to express purpose. One thing you need to remember is that classical Latin never uses the infinitive to express purpose. The first way we do it is through what we call a dative of purpose. And this dative of purpose means that the purpose may be expressed as a noun. Now, if I said the soldiers arrived as a relief to the guards, in this sentence we have a dative of purpose. What was the purpose? They arrived as a relief, so this is our dative of purpose. And then we have another dative. If you remember, this is a dative of reference. So remember, it's called the double dative, to the guards. So double dative. Milites subsidio protectoribus ad venerunt. The soldiers arrived as a relief to the guards. Another way we can express purpose in Latin is with the gerund and also the gerundive. Now remember, gerund is a verb that functions as a noun, and it takes ad and the accusative case. Now, a gerund looks similar to the gerundive, but the gerund is a noun because relief is a thing here. The soldiers arrived for relief. And it's never in the nominative case. So you would make it in the ad plus, of course, the accusative ending. Milites ad subsendendum ad venerunt. The soldiers arrived as a relief to the guards. Another way we can use the gerundive is also with causa and a genitive phrase. So if I said milites ad venerunt protectorum subsidendi causa, here we go. Here is our genitive, and here's the causa. So the soldiers arrived for the purpose of relieving. So here's where we have our genitive phrase of relieving the guards. Milites ad venerum protectorum subsidende. Here's our genitive plus causa. Okay, all these things are in your chart books, but it should be kind of at least remembering or tickling your brain a little bit. Hopefully some of this is coming back. So one of the other ways you've learned is about the gerundive. So the gerund with od cannot take the accusative. You have to use the gerundive if there is a direct object, right? So if I've got the phrase milites ad subsidendos protectores ad venerunt, the soldiers arrived to relieve. There is our gerundive. Remember, it's got an nd. It's going to look really similar because they're formed very similarly. To relieve the guards. And the guards is our direct object, or in Latin, the accusative. So a gerundive is an adjective that modifies a noun. Clearly, the phrase to relieve is not an adjective. But in showing purpose, we need to use a gerundive, and simply because that's the Latin grammar rules, when there is an accusative, and it must match the gender, case, and number of the accusative. In this case, it must match the guards. And since the guards is an accusative, plural, our gerundive also must have a accusative, plural, masculine ending. Occasionally you'll see the gerund with a direct object afterwards, but most of the time you're going to see the gerundive. Now, one final way is with the supine. The supine is simply the fourth principal part of the verb, not changed at all. Remember that. The supine may appear in the accusative case with a verb of motion. Now, remember, there's only 2 ways you can, it's only in the neuter. Remember this, is this. So, milites subsessum protectores ad venerunt. The soldiers, so here we have it in the accusative. The soldiers arrived to relieve the guards. And this is a verb of motion, arrive. So how we can do it. No, these are all the different ways you can show purpose. I know you're going, why don't they just have one? Well, because they don't, and English doesn't either. You just are so used to speaking English, you don't even think about it. So now that you've done the review, you're going to want to go and you're going to want to watch the next video, which is the new part, which is about purpose clauses.